What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Spectators, our sports podcast. It is episode 185. The NBA playoffs are
Woo!
rocking and rolling. The first round's officially done. And there's a lot to talk about and some reactions and overreactions and all that good stuff. Brooklyn, what's going on, brother?
Not much, bro. Just enjoying this, trying to watch as much basketball as I can. We've been busy with a lot of stuff.
Sure.
If everybody's been seeing, but we here for you every week. Every
Sure.
week.
Literally.
185 of them to be exact.
It's crazy. It is crazy. So we
So
are we are
I'm
we
doing
are
good.
locked in watching the NBA, like we said. And like I mentioned, the first round is over. Last night it officially ended with the game 7 of the Warriors and Kings series. That was a pretty insane series with a pretty anticlimactic ending, but it did have maybe the best performance of Steph Curry's career. The most points ever by a player in a game 7 in NBA history. So he was obviously on one yesterday. And the game kind of got out of hand quickly. The Kings definitely showed some inexperience in that third quarter and realistically the whole second half.
Mhm.
And, despite how bad the Warriors were this year, they were a 6 seed. Andrew Wiggins didn't play most of the year. They couldn't win on the road at all. All those things being said, here the Warriors are with home court advantage in the Western Conference semifinals against LeBron and the Lakers. Maybe the last time we ever see LeBron and Steph play each other in a
Crazy.
postseason, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
The script writers wanted it.
they
And we
they
got it.
to be fair, we
Mhm.
kind of needed it. It probably will be the last time they play each other, unless we get like a 48-year-old LeBron with his son getting in there and like versus a hobbled Steph. But that's for the future
Crazy.
us to talk about and relive this.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny too. Like we got old and tired of the Cleveland and Warriors finals because it happened so many times in a row. And now it's kind of refreshing to see LeBron and Steph play each other again after a couple years hiatus. So
Absolutely.
I'm pretty excited for it. I do want to talk about the other series though with the Kings. The Kings looked really good at times. Obviously, De'Aaron Fox kind of asserted himself to be one of the premier players in the league, wherever you want to number him. He's definitely one of the better players in the league, especially one of the guards. He might be All NBA this year, and he really improved his game coming into this season. But with that being said, does them not beating the Warriors when they really had a pretty prime opportunity to do it, like stunt their growth to you, or do you think this is a team that can learn and grow from this?
No, absolutely not. I feel like this helps them a lot more than anything because you have a young team, inexperienced in the playoffs, obviously. And last week I said you let the Warriors get back into this series, you're cooked, and it's for that reason. You're running into the Warriors. That's as experienced as you're gonna get. Like they
Yeah.
they got 10 toes down when it comes to playoff games. So it's like you got to take that series to 7 games, which is impressive. The young um talent in there with De'Aaron finally, like you said, making a name for himself as well. Sabonis looking great. Everybody else doing their thing when they needed to. I really like this team moving forward, and I think they got a lot of potential. As long as they could keep everybody, maybe bring in another piece. I don't really know who. Not
They
gonna
need some
throw
they need some
out.
outside shooting. They need some outside
Yeah,
shooting.
not gonna throw out some wild names right now, but I like them to be back, and I think it definitely helps them.
Yeah, and it's not a bad thing to be cautious about young teams, right? Like you look at a team like
No,
Memphis last year and they lose to the Warriors and you're like, "Oof, like this team should have been better." Like they were so good last season that we expect them to be better. They come into this year and they are better. They were better all regular season. Obviously, they're on the court drama stuff and off the court with Dylan Brooks and John Morant and everything like that.
yeah,
And then they come into this playoffs and they kind of get ran off the court by the Lakers, which they shouldn't have, but it's LeBron and AD and they were healthy. So, like, you get it, but you don't. I'm a little worried about the Kings in the same regard. Not because they're going to get like hated on, kind of like Memphis did. I think the Kings will still kind of be like America's darling coming into next year, and people will really be rooting for them. But you saw the flaws that this team has. When De'Aaron Fox isn't propelling the offense, they really stagnate. Sabonis at times can look like a monster, but he got absolutely outworked by Kevon Looney really all series. And that's not
Hmm.
really acceptable when Sabonis is an all-star caliber player and supposed to be one of the 4 or 5 best players on the court at any given time for either team to get outworked by Looney, who's a great defender and a great rebounder, but he's a role player. And he got outworked by him all series. So those things scare me. Malik Monk is a little too streaky for my liking, but that's just kind of how role
Hmm.
players go in the NBA.
Yeah.
I hope they don't fall to the same kind of a deal that Memphis does, but it's hard not to draw the parallels to them.
Yeah, the thing is with Memphis though, it feels like they got very cocky and felt like they just deserved to be there. uh, Especially with Dylan and I love what all the videos of like the little dance coming out the
Yeah,
locker
it's
room
fun, and
and the
they seem like
trash
they have a
talk.
good
Like
chemistry. Yeah,
as a fan, I love that and keep doing that. But if you're gonna do that, you better put in the work to allow yourself to still have the respect to do that.
yeah.
Because now you can't come into next season doing that. You can't. You got to earn all that back. You better keep your mouth shut, head down, just ball next season. Because
Yeah.
guess what? You're not entitled to everybody rocking with you. You're not entitled to a 2 seed. You're not entitled to any of that.
You've also lost in the playoffs twice in the first round now.
Yeah.
And
So
windows in the NBA are tiny. You get really
they're
three
tiny.
years. You get 3 years, and that's it.
So I don't think it'll be the same. I definitely see the worries, and it's always a possibility. But I'm not too worried about the Kings.
Okay.
I think they'll
Uh,
be back.
okay. I can get down to that. They definitely need to add some guys, but now they have a
Yeah.
little bit of experience and kind of to piggyback off what you said about the Warriors and how they're maybe the most experienced roster ever playoff wise. Um, the last time that they lost in the Western Conference side of the playoffs was in 2014.
Hmm.
That's the last time a Western team has eliminated them. It was the Clippers in the first round. They beat the Warriors, I think, in 7. And I saw a ridiculous ESPN thing about it too, which was things that were going on in 2014, which was the last time the Warriors lost in the playoffs to a Western team. And it was Mahomes wasn't in college yet. Aaron Donald wasn't a pro.
Hmm.
And there was like 2 other. Oh, Joel Embiid and Jokic weren't active NBA players. And Steve Kerr was a color commentator. And it was like, that's funny because we're getting 3 MVPs now out of Jokic, Embiid, whichever one of them wins it. I think that's today. I think that's today. I don't know. Whenever the MVP gets revealed, it'll be Jokic or Embiid. Probably Embiid at this point. I don't think he should have won it, but that's a different conversation for a different day. Uh,
Yeah.
but shout out to the Warriors. They've really made this dynasty thing last 9 years now. So
Yeah, congrats to the whole organization on that too. And I mean, I don't think anybody was expecting that we were gonna get prime Curry last night either. So
like vintage, maybe the best game of his career. Honestly, I know he's had less good games in finals that have mattered more, but like I think that was probably the best game Steph has ever played. Obviously, in a game that matters because if they lose, they're done. It doesn't
yeah,
matter that it's not a finals
that was a
because
big it was a big legacy game for Steph. It was a big one because again, game 7, you're dropping 50. What other, I mean, obviously outside of the finals, what other stage are you looking at
game seven,
of any type of player to really perform?
game 7
Elimination games. What are you
on the
doing when
road.
your back is against the wall on the road? You lose, your season's done.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna go give you 50. Well, okay.
And on the other side of it, game 7 at home, De'Aaron Fox kind of pulled a Devin Booker on us. He went 5 for 19. So it's
Yeah.
it's the duality of man. It's the duality of man. Sometimes you're him, and sometimes you're going to become him. You just have to
Yeah.
become him.
And we we talked about the narrative of the Warriors were trash on the road. I said
They are.
Don't take it into account though in
You
the
have to.
playoffs.
You have to.
Not
You
not in
have
the
to.
playoffs. You
Have
don't.
to. You have
You
to, bro.
don't. It's a different environment.
It's a
Who
different
cares about
environment.
regular season road games? Who
They're
cares?
harder in the postseason. They're harder to win, but
But you
doesn't
have
matter.
more you have more adrenaline though. You have more to build off of. In the regular season, you're going city to city. Like you know how the
City to
NBA
city,
is.
dude. It's a
We
grind.
we
They be
talk about it
traveling,
all the
especially when you're
time.
a
Like
California team. You are traveling a lot.
yeah, we talk about it all the time. They don't care about the regular season. So why are they gonna get amped up for a road game in the regular season? No, when you're in the playoffs, like it don't matter. You're 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 at 100 at all times. Well, you better be. If you're not, then no,
You
I
know
don't
who's
know what
not
to
at
tell
100 right now?
you.
The Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid, like I mentioned, might be winning the MVP tonight or whenever that's going on, but he is doubtful for game 1 and 2 in their Eastern Conference semifinals match against the Celtics.
Yeah.
And obviously Embiid is one of the 4 or 5 best players in the league right now, especially in terms of how dominant he is in the paint and just as a scorer in general. They're going against a really good defensive team in Boston with
Yep.
2 top 15 players over there with Jalen and Tatum.
Yep.
Are they completely out of this if Joel doesn't play for game 1 and game 2? Keep in mind they are on the road for these 2 games, so in theory, they're supposed to lose them anyway.
I don't know about completely out of it because you got Harden and Harden could explode offensively. So like you always got that in your back pocket. I'm not gonna sit here and say they're completely out of it, but I, him not being there isn't giving you anything to be like, oh yeah, the Sixers are gonna be fine. No, like you said, those Celtics are dogs defensively.
Yeah.
So if all you're relying on is Harden and the boys to pop off and make it happen,
Are we hoping for a Tobias Harris legacy game? Because
like you could hope for that all you want, but you're not gonna get that
you're
though.
not gonna get it.
Like
You're not
I
getting
don't,
it.
I don't know what you want.
You're not getting it.
Like, come on, dog.
You're not getting
So
it. Yeah, I'm definitely worried about him because I feel like this series should be a 7-game series, and it should be
yeah.
like 2 teams with pretty different styles in the way they play. Um,
Mhm.
the Celtics just shoot a lot of threes and they spread the ball around a lot and they do a
Mhm.
lot of passing and they move fast and like the 76ers are get it to Embiid, make him be the focal point, and then you kind of facilitate from that point. And super different teams. I really want Embiid to be healthy at least. I really hope he's back for
Yeah.
game 2. Uh, but I don't know if he will be. I really hope he is though. Game 1's not looking likely.
And
At
then, and
least
then you also wonder how the rest has been for the Sixers.
they've been
Because
off for a week.
too much rest is sometimes detrimental, especially when it comes to like basketball and baseball where like your shot and swing and eye matters.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it will
when
matter as much in this situation. But yeah, baseball, like if you're sitting for 10 days, you're cooked. you're cooked.
but even basketball, sometimes that first game back you could be rusty. So
Well, shout out
like
to the Rust if they're supposed to lose anyway, get all the rust
yeah,
out and
what you would want is take one out of these two and you could feel happy. If
oh,
you
you'll
lose
be you'll
both,
be ecstatic if you can take one
if
of
you
these.
lose both, you're
Well, they're supposed to lose both. I don't think they should feel any worse if they lose both. If you're not having your best player on the court and you're playing a team that's arguably better than you with your best player on the court, like obviously that's not how the team feels, right?
yeah, and
That's not
you
how the team
can't
feels.
go
But
into it
like,
with that mentality.
but it's not going into it like that. It's you go in and say you lose both of these games. You go into game 3, and B comes back. You're like, hey, we got our guy back. We're on home court. We're gonna take these 2 next games, and then we're gonna go into Boston and we're gonna win that one too. Like you have to, because you can't get too down on yourself for losing games to a team that's better when you know the situation that's happening. You can go out there and try your best, and I'm sure they will. Also, keep in mind they have Doc Rivers, so if there's anybody primed for a playoff failure, it's going to be Doc. Like they might lose this first game by 45 because he just forgot that, you know, Robert Williams is like a good interior player.
Are they finally gonna move past him if they end up getting knocked out this round?
They're not. Because what's going to happen is now they're going to lose. They're going to lose these 2 games without Embiid. Then they're going to win one. Then they're going to lose the next 2 games. It'll be a 5-game series. And then they're going to be like, well, we got off to a rough foot because Embiid was hurt. Embiid's always hurt. Embiid's always hurt. In his whole career, he's hurt like every other season. It's going to happen again. Stop saving this man's job because this guy gets hurt.
Yeah.
Hey, but listen, maybe that doesn't happen. Maybe the Sixers win this series. Because if the Sixers win this series, Doc's definitely not getting fired.
If they make it out of this round, he's not getting
That's
fired.
what I'm saying. Yeah, because this, in theory, quote unquote, in theory, is the hardest remaining matchup in the East. No matter if they play the Knicks or the Heat, this is like the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, whoever comes out of this series
Is the favorite
on
in that one.
paper is going to the finals.
Is definitely the favorite. And I don't think that's the way it's going to be because those two teams in New York and Miami are dogs. They're dogs. And we saw that in their earlier series, and we saw that in game 1 out of them. Those teams fight and they scrap. And although the Knicks didn't look like the Knicks team we saw against Cleveland at all in game 1, that partially happens again when you don't have your best player. Which we can kind of talk about that too. Knicks game 1, they don't get smacked down. I don't think that's the right way to describe it. They did lose by like 7, but no Julius Randle. They shoot 17% from 3. They still only lose by double digits. Jimmy gets hurt at the end of this game. I will say, also, I don't know what the Bucks were doing. I heard Coach Bud had some personal stuff going on, and that clearly had to have taken a toll on him and the team and his game planning and his game management because there were absolutely no adjustments that they made throughout that series at all, especially in the third and fourth quarters over there. And Jimmy Butler, you could book this, is not scoring 50 against this New York Knicks teams. It's just not going to happen. They are so much more active, and Josh Hart is such a better fit defensively against Jimmy. And even if it's not Josh Hart, you have the second best defender remaining in terms of defensive efficiency in Emmanuel Quickly. And there's too many good defenders isolation-wise that Jimmy's not going to go off for 50 in this series. So will the Heat be able to generate enough points to win games consistently when Jimmy's not scoring 35? I don't know. They did take game 1, and they looked pretty good during it. Kyle Lowry had the best game since the Raptors.
Shout out Lowry. He showed up.
he played fantastic. He had the best game he's had since the finals with the Raptors. Like, it was crazy. Kevin Love looked like prime Kevin Love throwing full court passes again. That's not going to happen again. I mean, maybe the Lowry thing does. He didn't play a whole lot this year. Maybe he has just some stored up energy. He was waiting for the playoffs. I don't know. But banking on the Knicks to shoot 17% from 3 and still kind of not really winning. And the Knicks had a lot of turnovers. A win's a win, and the Heat should feel good about going into New York and taking kind of a sloppy one. But I don't like the scoring outside of Jimmy still.
Yeah, and the thing is with the Heat, like they've had multiple people like show up even last series too, right? Where you got like 4 or 5 people almost scoring like 15 to 20 points a game. And that's what they're going to need out of this series. Unless you got Jimmy dropping 35, 45 points, which obviously we didn't see that this game.
And he rolled his ankle. His health is definitely going to be a question.
Yeah. So I like how spunky the Heat are right now because it feels like we got a true Cinderella in the playoffs. And it's them. It's definitely them. If like you got anybody that could make a surprising run, I wouldn't even be surprised at it. Like nobody's looking at them prior to all these games being played and saying, "Oh yeah, Heats are gonna upset the Bucks. Heat are gonna take game 1 against the Knicks." Nobody's looking at that. So you ride that momentum. You hope everybody shows up. You hope Kevin Love is the piece you wanted when you got him at the deadline and just is able to keep making those transition passes and keeping the ball moving, give you 10 points. That you're not asking for an offensive double machine outbursts from Kevin Love. Like you're not expecting that. You just need Jimmy to play his role the way he does it, lead the team, be a dog, get you 30 plus points. Whichever role player is going to show up that night
No.
out of the four or
It's
five and
been
get you
Gabe
double
Vincent
digits, you're
so
chilling.
far. It's been
Yeah.
Gabe Vincent.
And shout out.
He's been making big shots. He hasn't even been shooting super efficiently or anything like that, but he's made really big shots when swings are happening or like momentum like stopping shots, and that's obviously pretty important. So
Yeah.
this series is gonna be a fun one, but in kind of like a gross way. Like I don't think that the total 3-point percentage from this series is gonna be over like 37%. Like
Gonna be bad.
these teams don't shoot it particularly well. I also expect a better game from Bam at some point. He'll have like a 25, 26 point game where he has a couple of just moments where he's going for like 3, 4 buckets in a row. And I'm kind of looking forward to that. And you know, this is a fun one. And I don't know how much I see either of these teams going potentially to a finals, but they are kind of difficult matchups just in general for really any team. So
And cool little nugget just about the playoffs and in a whole. I don't know if you peeped this, but we have a team from every single seed in the playoffs right now.
I did see that.
Got 1, a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and an 8 seed. All
First time
playing
ever.
each other.
First time ever.
Yeah, you got a 1 versus 4 with the Nuggets and Suns, 6 versus 7
Gross.
with the Lakers and Warriors.
Gross.
6 versus 7, an 8 versus 5, and a 3 versus 2.
Shout out to the shout out to the 3 versus 2 and the 1 versus 4 for chalking, and the rest were gross.
So, I think that's really dope that we even have that, because correct me if I'm wrong, but have we ever seen anything like this?
No, that's never happened. That's
No?
never happened. It also is funny because this comes off the back of we had a 45-minute episode where we bashed the bubble, and then 2 bubble teams get to the second round, and one of them has a 1-0 lead in the second round. The other one is the favorite. Or no, they're not. The Lakers are not the favorite. They're definitely not the favorite. But the Lakers are playing the defending champs, and they have LeBron. So there's that. And dude, it's crazy.
Did you mean bubble or the play-in tournament?
I meant the play-in tournament. Bubble,
Yeah.
play-in, same crap.
Yeah.
Bubble, yeah, playoff bubble, whatever.
Okay.
I was
Big-
in
big
NCAA the bubble kind of a mode. but-
Because you weren't wrong. We had the bubbles there, but I was like, wait a minute.
No, right.
That was a while. That was a while ago.
That was a reach back. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is kind of funny too, though, that the 2 teams that made the finals in the bubble are still good. And that was a couple of years ago. It was the fluke year,
Yeah.
and now you have the Heat in the second round. They're up. Lakers are back.
So
Clearly
just might not be Mickey Mouse. Oh,
They're still
Who would've thought?
decent. I mean, they were a 7 and an 8 seed, but like they're still decent. They won a series. You know who didn't win a series? Memphis. So,
I mean, doesn't matter if you're a 7 and 8 seed if you both make it to the finals.
Yeah.
And then the worst part is like, are we surprised seeing the way that both of them are playing that that's a possibility this season?
to get to the finals, it's not happening.
Mhm.
Not happening.
I'm just saying possibility.
No, not happening.
Okay.
There's like a 1% chance for a Lakers Heat final this year. It's not happening. If
I'll
the
give it
if the
a nine.
Lakers,
I'm
if
going
the
with a 9% chance.
if the Laker 9,
Just 9.
you know,
No,
nah, that you're
none crazy.
you
I'm
are
not going
sipping
double-
the
I'm not going
Kool-Aid. You are
I
sipping
am.
the Kool-Aid.
I'm sipping the Kool-Aid,
That
bro.
is crazy.
Got the red one too.
No, ain't no way. If the Lakers play the Nuggets, which I think they will, in the conference championship, that will be a 4-game series where the average win is like 15.
Like I'm not
And
saying
they are
that's my
going to get
prediction.
smacked.
Right now, I'm going Nuggets Celtics. That's where I'm at right now. I'm just saying.
That was that's a great guess. I like that. The Nuggets looked really good in game
So-
1. Game 1 of their series against the Suns, the Nuggets looked really, really good. Are you concerned at all about the Suns after that game 1? I know it's in Denver, but this is
Not
still a
cons-
team with KD.
Yeah, I'm not concerned. Like I think they'll be fine. Obviously I don't think they're gonna win it. I think this series probably go 6.
Nuggets in 6.
Yeah,
Is
Nuggets in
it?
6.
It's pretty insane though that there's a world where some people were saying that Devin Booker's the best two guard in the league. I don't fully agree, but he's in the conversation for it. KD's
Hmm.
probably the best at whatever position you want to put him at.
Consider him as, yeah.
Yeah, whatever you want to, because who cares? Uh, that they have arguably the best guy at two different positions, and they're just like, I even think they have a chance in this series. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah,
And you
you
know what
know
part of it
how.
is?
What's up?
Chris Paul defensively is so beyond cooked. That boy cooked. They cannot afford, and this is kind of weird to say now because this is a Hall of Famer. This is one of the best point guards to ever play the game. They cannot afford to let Chris Paul play 32 minutes like he did in game one. He needs to be playing 20 minutes a game, and they need to let Torrey Craig go in there and guard Jamal Murray or whoever they need him to be on, or Okogie to guard Jamal Murray. Because if Chris Paul is guarding him, and Jamal has been up and down, he's had his inefficiencies, but he's still a good playoff performer. He will cook him. He will get 27 a game. And if Jamal's getting 27 a game, this series is over. Over.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even close. Jamal had 34 on like 52% shooting. You can't allow that.
Yeesh.
You cannot allow that. We didn't even have a good Jokic game. They beat them by 15, and Jokic was bad. This was the worst Jokic game I've seen in a while in terms of like his efficiency. Jokic is usually shooting like 70%, like 68%. He was under 50. They got cooked.
Yeah.
Cooked. So I think I'm super worried about the Suns because they go and get KD. That's a win now move.
And you're not looking like it's gonna happen.
It's
I'm
not.
gonna be so happy when
Ooh.
the Mavericks and the Suns
Oof.
both don't get anything this season. I'm gonna be happy. I'm
It's
gonna be
it's
living my best life.
it's a pretty fun like direction that the NBA is kind of turned in, where we're like, we don't want the Mavericks and Suns to be good, and everybody's kind of rooting for Harden in Philly. It's kind of funny how
It's
that's turned out
wild.
because
Yeah.
Harden was like the villain of the league for a while. People really didn't like Harden,
Yeah.
and he's not shooting as much, and he's that obviously not at the foul line as much. He's fully revamped his game to be a point guard at this point, and KD's still a bum. Kyrie's whatever the hell he is. If if you look up like locker room cancer in the dictionary, it's like Kyrie, it's Aroldis Chapman, and it's like
Dylan Brooks.
no, they love Dylan. They love Dylan. Who's like another crazy locker room cancer? Like Vontaze Perfect. Like it's those three guys. And like Antonio Brown, which coincidentally Perfect's the reason Antonio Brown is this way. He's
He's the
definitely not.
sole reason.
He's certainly not. He was an issue.
I mean, everything happened.
Look at the scouting report on AB coming out of high school. He was an issue. He's always been an
that-
issue. He's
that's
always been
fine.
one.
That-
And he's
that's
not
fine,
getting
but-
AB. I hope you're watching this. You're not getting signed by the Ravens. They don't want you. Nobody in the league does. So
Friend
go
of the
ahead.
pod, by the
So
way.
go ahead and put it on. Put it
Friend
on.
of the pod.
And by put it on, I mean put on that music because that's all you're gonna be performing this year, buddy.
Oh man,
Friend of the pod.
I don't remember where we were.
I spiraled. We were slandering KD. We were slandering
Oh
KD.
yeah. The thing with KD, like, I'm not super mad at him for everything that happened because,
He was kind of
Kyrie-
okay in
well,
Brooklyn. He
I'm
kinda
just
minded
like
his own
the
business
way,
for the most part.
yeah, just the way out. Like he still wanted to stay, but just everything was so cooked. It was better that it was okay.
He
Go
was just
go
like,
your separate ways.
I'm a dude.
And Harden, like, I don't even blame either. Like at the time, it was like, well, what are you doing? But now it's like, okay, you saw this all happening. Let me
He
just
saw
get
it
out.
firsthand. He's like,
I don't want this.
I'm a go.
Yeah, so like I really don't even got beef with Harden and KD like that. Kyrie, I mean, that boy went from my favorite player to
We got hands.
whatever he is now. Uh-uh.
It's an IG model. He's certainly not a helpful basketball player. So
Just
crazy that like a top 10 talented guy in the league is not a helpful or impactful player towards winning. It's kind of crazy.
yeah, I hope he doesn't mess up Luca's run at all. So
I mean, the Mavs are done, so hopefully Luca requests a trade. Luca is gonna look so good in blue and orange. And by Luca, I mean he's not gonna go there, but that'll be sick. Do it, Brad. Let's have another. Let's have another
that's the
Mavericks.
one thing I don't think would look, I don't think he would look good at all in Knicks colors.
That's crazy because he wins a ring. If you put Luca on this team right now, they don't lose another game. They don't lose another game. I'm so serious. If you swap, like, this trade wouldn't happen. But if like you just swapped Julius and Luca, because they kind of play similarly, besides like the defensive side. I mean, this team goes and wins 68 games in the regular season, and then that just kind of steamrolls through the playoffs because their defense is so good, which is the issue with the Mavericks. And then Luca puts up 37.
Mhm.
I don't even agree with this. I'm just kind of yelling. I don't know how much I agree, but that would be really good. It would actually be a good fit. It's not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Where's he going?
Mm.
Luca to Milwaukee.
Oh,
Just yelling
bro,
stuff.
Luca and Giannis.
They got a super team. The two guys that don't want a super team. But Luca kind of does. One of them's got to leave.
Bro,
One of them's got to go.
Luca, Giannis, Drew, Bobby Portis, and Brooke Lopez.
Bobby Portis.
Oh my god. Nah, but
Crazy.
shout out Chris Middleton.
Shout out Chris Middleton. Shout out Chris
Yeah.
Middleton. Shout out Chris.
Not giving him that disrespect.
Absolutely not. That's rude.
He doesn't deserve any
Nah,
of it. He's a
bro.
king.
He's a king, dog. He's an NBA champion.
He's an NBA champion.
With the remaining teams, who are you feeling the most to win it all? At this point,
I'm gonna stick with my Nuggets take. I've been rocking with for a little bit now. Got no reason to fall off of them.
yeah.
So
There's a lot of teams with a lot of flaws. I think
yeah.
they have the team with the best player in the league at this point, and he's the healthiest of the best players in the league too. Because Embiid's not doing so hot. LeBron got a rolled ankle. Emmanuel quickly is not a best player in the league, so the Knicks don't have one of those. And and playoff Jimmy is him though, so just
That's for sure.
he's
But
definitely
outside of the Nuggets, like out of what I would want to see, not anywhere close to what I think it's gonna be. I want the Heat, Knicks, or Lakers. If I had any other picks, any of those four,
anything but the
I'm happy.
Warriors at this point. I can't deal with a Warriors down season, and they still take it.
It'll be cool, and I mean shout out because it's just adding to Steph's legacy as an all-time great. So like in that aspect, not mad.
Cool.
You're becoming one of the best dynasties ever at that point.
Probably are
You
already.
probably are already at this point, but now you just adding to it. Truly, as long as it's not the Sixers or Celtics for me,
Yeah.
I really don't care who. So
I'm not mad at that. There's a lot of teams I
Yeah.
don't want though. That's the thing. Like the only teams I want to win right now are the Nuggets or the Knicks. Like I don't like the rest of these teams.
yeah, it's
First-
funny because when the Suns were there a while ago, I wanted them to win it. Now, keep them far away from me.
The
Don't
best,
even make it out
the
of this
best
round, bro.
quote ever is that Chris Paul was like, "Yeah, now that I got it once, like I can't get enough. It's like a drug."
Well, you already went to rehab, so shout out.
Second round exit with
Not
KD.
getting it again with KD.
With KD. That's crazy. That team makes the finals and then adds KD, and they'll lose a couple guys. Adds KD.
Does
losing
does that
second round.
hurt KD's like legacy at all? In your opinion?
Everything KD does hurts his legacy. Nobody cares about KD's legacy because he doesn't
But
care about his legacy.
without any like prior stuff, just
Yeah, of course
he
it
gets
does. Of
he
course it
just gets
does.
added.
Of course it
Okay.
does. Because the list of all-star and like all-time great and Hall of Fame players that KD has played with and hasn't won a championship with is longer than the group that he has won championships with. I'll tell you that. Russell
Yeah.
Westbrook, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, Devin Booker. Those are all Hall of Famers that he
James
hasn't
Harden
won with.
times two.
James Harden twice. James Harden twice.
Yeah.
And those are all Hall of Famers, which is weird saying Blake Griffin's a Hall of Famer. And obviously he was well past his prime, but he's a Hall of Famer. The NBA is a stingy league, or like the opposite of stingy. They let anybody in. Blake Griffin and Draymond might
Yeah.
be first ballot Hall of Famers. It's vile. It's gross.
I mean, Draymond at least deserves it because you got all these rings. Like, if you that's the one argument I'll make. Like, if you are getting rings, the door opens for you for the Hall of Fame.
Draymond is going to be the worst statistical player in the Hall of Fame, most likely. I haven't looked at the Hall of Famers,
But that's
but it's
not
fine.
what
Who
makes
cares? Right, who
Draymond a
cares?
great
Yeah,
player.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah. Yeah.
it's the off the stat sheet
I
stuff that he
completely agree.
does.
I'm just
Yeah.
pushing a narrative here.
And I get it. I get it.
I don't know who has the least points scored in the Hall of Fame, but it might be him. And I don't feel like looking it up.
Draymond's gonna go down for the most nut shots and chest stomps ever. So
That's
shout out.
unless Grayson turns it around and makes a Hall of Fame career in the second half. Then Grayson will absolutely take the cake
Oh
there.
man. Ugh. Do not let Grayson Allen in the Hall of Fame. I beg you. Do not put him in the Hall of Fame.
Dude,
I don't care
he's
if he
325
turns
point
into,
seasons away from getting in, dog.
I don't care if he's LeBron, KD, MJ, Jordan, and Wilt combined over the rest of his career. Don't put him in the Hall of Fame.
Grayson's
man-
black now?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Oh, my bad, Pip. The Zodiac Killer is reverse Sammy Sosa does and become Wilt Chamberlain. Ain't no way. Just ain't no way. Yeah,
I don't want to see. I don't want to see it.
I don't want to see it either. So yeah, it'll hurt KD's legacy, but nobody really cares about KD's legacy. It's one of those legacies that if you were here and you watched it, you know is just kind of tainted as it is. And if you don't and you go back in the history books and you look at everything, you're like, wow, that guy was an all-time great. You're probably right, but also like don't care. You know? So that's how I feel about it. One of the best to ever do it. One of the most talented scorers ever. Don't care.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Oh man.
So that's what it is. I think that's all we got for you guys today. The draft was this weekend, but that's something we'll talk about another day once the guys start getting into training camp and all that. We get ready for the NFL season, so we're going to stick to our basketball chops as it is now and get ready for some more great basketball going on. I think tonight we got Nuggets, Phoenix, and Celtics, 76ers, I think, are tonight. So we got some really good games. Probably the best games of the remaining ones. So shout out to that. We'll be watching. Thank you guys for tuning in, hanging out, rocking with us. We'll be back again next Monday, May 8th. Happy Cinco de Mayo this weekend. Stay safe, drive responsibly, drink responsibly, all that good stuff. Shout out to the to the fake Mexican holiday. And and we'll see you guys next week. Make sure you follow us at Spectators Media. And we'll talk to you guys.
Later.
Bye, everybody.